history, certain professions have come and gone. In medieval times, people called bear leaders studied the great and ancient craft of guiding bears from town to town. Back when we thought bleeding cured diseases, leech collectors specialized in gathering leeches for medical purposes. Town criers were once human alarm clocks and news radios before the start of electricity. But as time progressed, certain professions have become obsolete. I, for one, am very grateful that we no longer have barber surgeons, as I would much rather be operated on by someone who has a bit more training than a barber. Even in my own case, it requires great precision. While certain professions have become obsolete, the skills and knowledge have evolved to be used in new and different ways. One such obsolete profession was described in our gospel lesson today: the scribe. Literacy is widespread now. Anybody can string together 140 characters for the whole world to read. But we forget that for the vast majority of time that humans have been writing, only a very, very precious few could ever read and write. Scribes were these elite. Scribes wrote and copied important documents that needed to be preserved. They provided secretarial duties, such as taking dictation, keeping business, legal, and historical records. They copied and interpreted religious texts. It was a distinguished profession. The skills and knowledge that scribes held gave way to other professions, like lawyers and journalists, accountants, historians, secretaries, and even clergy. Scribes spent their lives immersed in the words they copied, connecting the past to the present. Their minds were trained to see old patterns and to recognize new possibilities in the world around them, in whatever context they lived in. Over the last weeks, in our gospel lessons, Jesus used very many images for the kingdom of heaven. A sower of seeds, weeds and tares, mustard seeds, pearls of great price. And today, after offering his disciples a few more descriptions of the kingdom of heaven, Jesus said these words: "Every scribe who has been trained for the kingdom of heaven is like the master of a household who brings out of his treasure what is new and what is old." This is the essence of how Jesus taught. With one foot in the traditions that formed him, and one foot in the present unfolding around him, he dared to imagine new ways to describe the glory of God's inbreaking love. That's what Jesus' parables are about. God's love starts small, but grows large and gives life. God's love has power to spread and to transform everything it touches. God's love is more valuable than wealth. God's love promotes what is life-giving in us and rids us of everything that is not. Jesus taught about this love of God, using old things and new things. He used the ancient scriptures, and he used what was going on in front of his eyes, even the very land through which he walked and lived his days. For Jesus, the love of God was not something that happened in the past. God was speaking to them there and then. Jesus trained his followers to hear God speaking to them in new and in glorious ways. After Jesus spoke them, his words were gathered and copied, you guessed it, by scribes who carried on and shared his wisdom. These words, the Gospels, were copied over and over, first by scribes, then by printers, and now it's in every one of our cell phones and tablets and anywhere else we would want to have them. But with our Bibles, with gilded pages and bound in beautiful leather, we are often lured into thinking that God's words to us are complete and final. And yet Jesus reminds us today that every scribe who has been trained for the kingdom of heaven is like one who brings out of the treasure what is new and what is old. As our friends in the United Church of Christ like to remind us, God is still speaking. Jesus invites us to train our minds to discover God moving in and among us in new and creative ways. God speaks to us through the words of Holy Scripture, through nature, through our rationality, and through people in our lives. The empathy we feel as we talk to dear friends is because God is still speaking. The urgency we feel when we read the news is because God is still speaking. The courage we find to stand alongside others when times are hard is because God is still speaking. If we live only by the old, we remain in a place destined to repeat the same bad things. Blind to harm we cause ourselves, and blind to harm we cause others. If we live only by what is new, we lose the wisdom of the past and move untethered through time and space. But when we hold them together in tension, 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the present, unfolding around us, we hear the voice of God. Our Old Testament lesson today is a challenging case of the old meeting the new. The story of Laban and Jacob, Rachel and Leah is difficult to read. Yes, on the surface it's sort of amusing. And yet, when we imagine its events actually unfolding, it is horrifying. Jacob wanted to marry Rachel, so he made a deal with her father, Laban. Her father sold her for 7 years of hard labor. On the night before the wedding, Laban got Jacob drunk and pulled the old switcheroo. He dressed his older daughter Leah under a veil and gave her to Jacob instead of Rachel on the wedding night. Jacob didn't know what happened until he sobered up the next morning. And Laban was unapologetic and told Jacob that if he wanted Rachel, he needed to work for 7 more years, which he did, and took both of them as his wives, a good biblical marriage. This is a hard story to read. Women bought, sold like property. Men making shady deals, playing with the fates of others without the slightest sense of moral responsibility or consent. Both Jacob and Laban should leave us feeling achy. I believe an important part of the new thing that God calls us to is to recognize these places in our history and traditions that make us uncomfortable, that show corruption and social evil. When we offer proper critique, We can find ways not simply to dismiss what is old, but to redeem it. In a society with women had no economic freedom and relied on fathers, husbands, and sons for protection, here we find a story about God providing for Leah a secure path in a world that offered her no favors. The kingdom of heaven is like a father who outsmarts a crafty suitor in order to take care of a child overlooked, Jesus might say. Love provides for all people, not just favorites. God speaks to us through old and new ways, guiding us forward to bring love and dignity to all people. When we cling to what is old and close our minds to the new things God is saying, we cause great harm. The church and Christian tradition must own up to the ways in which we have been complicit in evil. Christians have used Scripture to support slavery and xenophobia, sexism and homophobia. To say to one group of people, you cannot be included, is not the way of love. We cannot deny the ways we have persisted in sin. Rather, our faith calls us to own up to it, with the goal of lifting up what is purest and best and truest in our faith. The love of God that is stronger than sin in the world. The love of God in us that is greater than the sin in us. We must practice telling the story of this good news. The call of Jesus Christ is to train our minds to see the glorious love of God erupting out of the world in unexpected and new places. And once we see it, to tell others about it. Where is God speaking now? From whose lips do we hear words of good news? God does not always speak from places of comfort and peace. Sometimes God speaks from those places that agitate us, that stir our souls, that make us question what we see and what we have always known. But to hear God speaking still, our minds must be trained